Good morning, New Smyrna. This is your Mayor, Fred Cleveland. It is Friday, October 11th, and this is the day after Hurricane Milton. Goodbye, Milton. Hello, storm cleanup. We have a lot to be thankful for. Neighbors helping neighbors, our amazing city staff we're going to hear from here in a few minutes. We've got the city manager here and his staff to explain our cleanup operation. We have a lot to tell you. We're glad you're here with us. We want to keep you informed with the latest and greatest of what's going on. We'll continue to do these. We're getting great response. We appreciate you tuning in. And so with that said, I want to welcome and say good morning to our Chief Executive, Mr. Kevin Cowper, who's here to give us an update on what the city has been through and where we're going to head from here. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good to be here and glad to be through this storm event. So as we begin to turn our attention now to the cleanup operation, so we're going to hear from some different staff today about the cleanup and things that happened during the storm and after the storm. We're glad that everybody is okay. We do have some city staff that we are aware of that have been damaged, but thankfully most people are okay. The city is back fully operational this morning. We have crews all over the city doing damage assessment and beginning the work for cleanup. Fortunately, we do not have a lot of damaged structures in the city. What we do have is a number of trees down and a lot of mess to clean up and a lot of water on the roads. So we're continuing to tell people to be careful as you travel around, avoid water if you can. We are aware of all of the hot spots now where we do have water, where any trees might remain over the street, and we will get to that. We are assessing different areas of how best to remove the water. So if you have water on your streets, we do know about that, and we are working to get that removed. So you're going to hear from different staff today about the cleanup and when and where to put your debris out so that it will get collected. But again, we're thankful to have all the staff back at work and working to get New Smyrna Beach cleaned up, and so that we can all get back to enjoying life. Thank you, sir. Yeah,
really good. So Kevin, I understand the staff is all back at work. The city is operating. All the phone numbers that you normally use are available. The emergency operations center has now ceased operations.
That is correct. The EOC closed up late yesterday afternoon. We were operational, I think, for 36 plus hours. So there was a lot of very tired people there. Fortunately, everybody got to go home and get some rest last night. We had firemen, we had police officers, staff from our maintenance operation. A lot of people spent a lot of time and effort during the storm, and now they're immediately switching gears to the cleanup.
Really great. And this morning you've teed up a variety of folks. We have our partner from the NSB Utilities here, the CEO Efren Chavez will be here to speak to us in just a moment. I believe you have David Ray, Director Ray, will be talking about the both the regular trash pickup, is that right? Mm-hmm. And the vegetation.
Yep.
You have the fire chief here. Chief VanDemark is here to talk about rescue and fire operations, and also our police chief Eric Feldman's here. So we've got quite a bit of information to put out. Some people like to track storm information. So New Smyrna Beach, for the record, got 12 inches of rain and got top wind speed of 87 miles an hour measured at Ponce Inlet. So not as severe as we've had in the not too far past. Ian and Nicole come to mind. That was higher water and higher wind perhaps, but still sufficient to give us a run for our money. So I know that what's near and dear to your hearts is, when am I going to get my power on? When is the trash coming? All those things we're going to get to. But just a bit of a rock roll, remember, on October 9th and 10th, 1924, to the exact time and date, was a hurricane in New Smyrna. Well before they started naming hurricanes. Started naming hurricanes in 1945 in the Pacific Northwest, and then in 1950, storms in the North Atlantic. So there weren't any names for storms in 1924, but we had one to the exact day and time 100 years ago. Fun fact for those of you historians. We're fortunate to have this morning with us our Chief Executive of the New Smyrna Utilities, Mr. Efren Chavez, is here to give us an update on power and water. Something near and dear to all of our hearts. I know that 87% of us were without power at some point, and much of that has been restored and will be restored over the next several days. So Efren, thank you for taking the time and coming in to talk to everybody. This is getting a lot of viewership, so this is a very potent way to get your message out. Tell us what you know.
So just to put everything in perspective, this Hurricane Milton, the effects of that we started feeling Wednesday afternoon. It didn't leave our service territory until late Thursday afternoon. So, but with that, we had winds over 87, almost 90 miles an hour, but we had gusts up to over almost 100 miles an hour.
Wow, that must have been a challenge. You guys probably could not even get in the bucket trucks to get moving until well after that. So
correct.
That's the first thing that has to get started before an assessment, before you can actually turn anything back on, right?
That's exactly it. So we've been, during the inclement weather, what we've done is did tours of the system to understand where we're at, what we need to do from a restoration, so patrolling. So. And
are there zones? How is this how is this segmented, and how can we, give us the rundown of how many zones there are, and how you go about doing your triage for what you turn on first, second, third?
So what we did was we looked at what are the major critical infrastructures, the mains, the laterals, police, fire, hospital. We focus on that critical infrastructure, and then looking at it from a priority standpoint, working on those, and then restoring others as that fits in. So it's always a numbers game. In particular, we are looking at areas such as coastal woods. In that area, we had some transmission line poles collapse. We have the materials in place, but to restore an area such as coastal woods, we need to get those transmission poles back in and then reset up the distribution. Yes, Coastal Woods is on an underground system, but it is being taken care of. We need to do step by step. That's
interesting. Okay, so although you have an underground system inside of Coastal Woods, the feeder to that is above ground.
Correct.
And that is where the challenge is for you right now.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. I get that now. Thanks for that. How are you doing? How far down the pike are you on restoring power?
So as of within 24 hours of the storm hitting us and leaving us, we're 50% restored. We expect to have everyone restored by Saturday afternoon. Our estimated time right now is by 4 o'clock. But do not get us wrong, we are restoring as many as we can. Today, into the night, we have crews 24/7. We actually have 22 mutual aid crews coming in between today and tomorrow. They're here to help us to get us restored as soon as possible.
That's amazing, this cooperative effort. How many trucks would you estimate you've got in total out and about?
Oh, 20 to 20, over 25 trucks.
And does each truck represent a crew, or are there 2 or 3 trucks per crew?
Actually, a truck represents 2 people, a crew of 2.
Oh, wow. So you've got
Yes.
a large force, and they'll be on call until it's over.
Until it's over.
100%.
We will, until it's 100% restored.
Wow. Really appreciate that. Is there anything else you want to scope the expectation from our listeners and viewers this morning?
We just ask that everyone remain patient. We are working as diligently and as safely as possible. We have to ensure that the safety of our employees, customers, residents, we want to make sure that we perform and restore as quickly but as safely as possible.
Efren, your crew has always done an amazing job following these storms. This is no exception. We're delighted with the service that we get. We know that power is essential to every single person here. We know that they're elderly, there are infirm out there that need it. Delighted to hear that the way you sequenced it was essentiality. You got the hospital, you got Dr. Hernandez's Advent Hospital up and running, got our police and fire departments firing away because we had 100% of them on call the whole time. Having them well taken care of was important to get them out and do their job. And now you're moving through. Was there, I know the entire beach side was without
Yes.
power. Has any of that been restored?
Yes, we're in the process. Some of it has been restored effective last night, and we are actively restoring the rest actually today.
Really good. I'm assuming that your focus may have been on those condominiums because you can get a lot of service back to a lot of families in a dense pack.
Correct.
Other than a neighborhood. That's great.
That's exactly how we look at it, as a triage.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I know you're busy. Don't want to take a whole lot of your time, but we really appreciate the partnership.
Appreciate it.
Back to our amazing staff. We've got Director David Ray here, who operates our maintenance and operations division, one of the largest in the city, and has he had his hands full. Those of us that see David's crew out there in their bright yellow protective gear and their helmets understand that they've been working around the clock since days ago. So David, welcome. I'm delighted you're here. Thanks for taking a little time out. This is so important to get the great word out to our residents about all the good things that have been going on, and to scope their expectations for debris pickup, for trash pickup, for how they should do it, if they want to deliver it themselves out to the site we've had before, all those things. So if you don't mind, just go down the list of things, and we'll try to fill in the gaps as they go along the way.
Sure. So for garbage, those that missed on Thursday, garbage pickup is going to be done on Saturday. The landfill is currently closed right now, so there will be no garbage pickup today for Friday. Waste Pro will be resuming their normal operations starting Monday, and everything will be scheduled on your normal day starting Monday. As far as debris,
so just for clarity, so that's your regular trash pickup. Do not sprint to haul your debris out to the road. Get your trash, your regular trash pickup.
Yes, sir.
Did not happen Thursday. That will happen Saturday.
yes. So
Saturday.
Yes, sir.
By Waste Pro.
Correct.
Okay. And Waste Pro is handling that continuously. They are not going to do the hurricane debris. We've got something separate for that.
Yes, sir.
You want to talk about that for a minute?
Sure. So for all the hurricane debris, we have a debris hauler that we have activated. We do ask that when you bring it all to the curb, we ask that you don't put it near a fire hydrant. We ask that you don't put it on a water meter. We don't want it bagged either. The monitoring company that follows the debris haulers around will check every pile that we have that we pick up to make sure it meets FEMA standards and things of that nature. But they will be coming by to pick it up. We have the trucks will be in the area effective Monday, October 21st is our kickoff. We want to give the residents enough time to bring all their debris to the curb so we can do one clean pass throughout the entire city, and potentially do a second pass through the city and be cleared in less than 45 days. That's our goal, is the entire city will be back to normal, and you won't even know a hurricane came through in terms of when you're looking at any kind of debris.
Wow, that's really, really great. Let me just back up for a second. There are many of us who normally put things in bags and haul them out to the street. If we have to haul it to the street in a bag, can we just open the bag up and let it fall out and put it in a pile? Is that the general idea?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's exactly.
So but if it remains in a bag, will they not pick it up?
We will pick it up, but through the first pass, typically they will bypass the bags just to make sure they get all the debris so the truck isn't contaminated.
Okay, so that's an important point. Many people will be confused about how to make this happen. So if you want to bag your stuff and take it to the site,
Correct.
Out off of Industrial,
Yes,
right?
sir.
You can do that, and then we ask that you open the bag as you dump it out there.
Correct.
If you're going to leave the stuff at your home, unbag it at the site.
Correct.
At your house.
Yes.
Now, what I think I heard you say is we don't have to sprint. We don't have to. I mean, many people have already cleaned their yards and piled out there. God bless you guys for doing that. But for those of us that have been occupied with other things, when do we have to? What is it? A week from now? When do you think the first pass will take place?
We are looking right now to make the first pass effective the week of October 21st. And part of the reason behind that was, we have a lot of residents who are going back to work, and we want to give them this weekend and next weekend to really do a lot of their yard cleanup and get all the debris that we possibly can out on the curbs. So when we do our first pass, we can get the majority of all the debris can be lifted during that first pass.
These aren't the Waste Pro trucks. These are the big black trucks that
Correct.
the contractor uses. And there's actually a second phase of that. There's a monitor truck that comes along to make sure that everything's going as it's supposed to. You have two separate contracts to do that, right?
Yes, yeah, we have the debris hauler contract, and then we do have a monitor contract. And the monitor contract is they're there to make sure that all the FEMA guidelines are being followed in terms of the pickup and what's being picked up, making sure there's no C&D material, construction and demolition material with the vegetative waste. We can't contaminate the trucks. And that all has a role to play to guarantee that the city gets the full reimbursement for all the monies that we're going to be spending on the debris collection.
Really good. That's an excellent point. So, David, if I have damage of debris from my household goods, stuff that got wet and soggy and is trashed, where do I put that in a different pile, or do I put it? Just don't mix them together, right?
Right.
But I can't have them in separate piles out at the street.
Yes, that's a great point. That we want two separate piles. We do not want to see the yard waste and the other debris mixed. That pile will be skipped over on the first pass until we can get it separated, because the trucks, per FEMA guidelines, cannot be contaminated.
So the residents shouldn't panic if they say, wait a minute, they didn't take
Right.
this time. There'll be at least two passes.
Yes.
And multiple passes if you count one day as debris from the yard, the other day is your C&D, the construction, and debris from the building, right?
Correct.
Very, very good. And how many passes? I think you've been out and about and surveying the properties. We're not going to do 5, 6 like we did during Ian and Nicole.
Right.
There'll only be two big passes, right?
Correct. That's what we're planning right now, is 2 passes, and we will definitely get that information out. The first pass, like we said, will start October 21st, the week of, and as soon as we have that first pass done, or as soon as we get that close to being done, we will announce when our second pass will be, and then that will be the final pass, and then the rest of the material will be picked up by city trucks.
Thank you very much. That's helpful. Director Ray, talk to us for a second about what your team is doing today. What have you got your guys out there doing?
So we are out there right now. We have several teams. We have 7 teams of our crews right now going in all different quadrants of the city, essentially going street by street, clearing the debris off the street, piling it up. What that's doing is making sure that material is not going into our storm system. So all the leaves, all the vegetative debris that you are driving over and things of that nature, we're sweeping all that up and raking it all up, putting it in piles. We also have a couple crews that are setting up pumps to those areas that are flooded, and we're working on ways to get that water drained for you. We also have 2 crews that are getting all of the trees that are blocking any roads. We have two tree crews that's all they're doing is making sure that limbs are trimmed and trees are not blocking any of the roads.
How would you like the residents to communicate with you if they see something that's just catastrophic, or they have a need or a want? How do they contact the city? What's
Sure.
your advice for that?
Sure, they can call the maintenance ops main number. It's 386-424-2205. That goes straight to our main desk, and all the information can be taken there, and then we can disseminate that to the proper team to handle.
One more time with that number, please.
386-424-2205.
That's really helpful. Is there anything else you want the folks out there to know about what's going on and what we need to do to help us clean up?
I think we covered all the main points. I just want the residents to know that we see the areas that are in danger right now, that have water, and just know that we are doing everything in our power to help, and everything that we can possibly do to remove that water. We're going to get that debris picked up, and we are going to get life back to normal for New Smyrna.
Thank you again. That's our Director of Maintenance and Operations, David Ray. David, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You're a superstar. Keep going.
My pleasure.
Here again is our Fire Chief. One of the most amazing parts of our first responder team is the fire department. Their liaison and interface with our police department is second to none, so you'll be hearing from both today. But right now with me is the Fire Chief, Fire and Rescue Chief, Mr. Shawn VanDemark. Chief, how'd it go? What were the hot spots, and what do we need to know now about cleanup and the moving forward in post-hurricane mode?
Absolutely. So we experienced a pretty good bit of weather. I mean, it was the winds and the rains were significant this go around. Pretty much not a carbon copy of Ian, but it's kind of felt the same. And I know Port Orange is dealing with what I would call a carbon copy of Ian, if you will. So right now we got crews out there. They're doing some cleanup as well, just like Director Ray's crews are doing. We're back to 100% normal operations. We're not down any equipment. We didn't lose anything over this go around, so we're good there. We're out there during the storm, or as the storm passed, we effected a couple dozen rescues, and by rescue that's a kind of a broad term, but it's extractions from flooded homes and things like that, getting them to some place that's safe and dry, hopefully family member or friend, and that go around.
Do you know if we had any folks in the shelter? Did we take anybody to the shelter, to a shelter?
Some of the people that we extracted went to the county fairgrounds or the Creekside Middle School, basically on their own. So
Okay.
it was, but as far as establishing a shelter here, it wasn't needed this time, thankfully.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And so you had the entire force on call. I've seen the trucks out and about. Anything of note of significance on any particular rescue that you'd like to point out?
No, I think it's. I think this storm, everybody was prepared. Everybody was prepared. The opportunity to get the things we needed, the residents to get what they needed to get prepared for that, I think was a huge plus this go around, and I'm happy to see that we came out not unscathed by any means, but definitely safer and more comfortable than we did last time.
Chief, you actually run the Emergency Operations Center and direct that effort. Can you talk a little bit about how that went, what the highlights were, and what you learned from either other cities that were on the line or the county as we were interfacing back and forth?
Yeah, we have a great partnership with our state and our county agencies. The EOC is kind of the hub of all that information and that coordination. That's our opportunity to make sure that the right crews are going out at the right time to gather all the information, damage assessments and needs and gaps, and quickly address them, either through assets that we have in here in New Smyrna, or if we need to, we reach out to Volusia County or the state and get those things rolling quickly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did we have interoperability where did you have to respond out of New Smyrna, and did anybody respond from a different department inside of our city limits?
As is kind of the standard for Volusia County, there's always some overlap between New Smyrna and Volusia County, and it's a seamless overlap, if you will. As far as us needing to deploy, we haven't been requested yet. We have offered up a crew to go anywhere if there's a state request through the SERP, which is a State Emergency Response Plan. But haven't received that request yet, which is okay. We can take care of stuff at home until they do request us, and so we're happy to do it.
Right. So now going forward, everybody's back to operations as normal. Citizens that need help simply dial the 911. If they need emergent work, if they want information, do they just call the fire department?
Yeah, so the best way to always get a hold of police and fire is through 911. They have the trained operators who can direct the calls to the right agencies, and also give them information preceding the arrival of emergency crews through their training. So
Wonderful.
Always 911's the best route.
Wonderful. Well, I know you and the Deputy Chief rise to the occasion. You and Dan do an amazing job. So I want to thank you on behalf of your residents, your citizens, the people who really care about making sure that our fire department is second to none. And we want to thank you for the great job that you did. Really appreciate it. Anything else you want anybody to know about what's going on?
No, we're all in this together. If you didn't experience significant damage this time your neighbor may have. So feel free to jump in and lend a hand. I mean, this is definitely a community effort. It takes more than the couple hundred city employees to do it. So let's all get some gloves on and get to work, get the city back to normal.
That's exactly right. We see that going on right now. We see it out there in the preparation mode, and now we see it in the storm cleanup. Driving the streets myself, I can tell that neighbors want to help neighbors. That is the beauty of our town. We're a small coastal community, and cleanup or storm prep, we are in it together. Thanks again, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You bet. Have a good one. With me now is our police chief, Chief Eric Feldman, and he wanted to make sure that we had the insight of what went down for the preparation, what went down during the storm, and now what we can expect after the storm. Good morning, Chief. Welcome.
Good morning, Mayor. Thank you. Yes, so as the fire chief said, it was definitely a major weather event, although what I noticed this time was there definitely was a level of respect by our community, I think both for the storm and what it could bring, as well as just for some of the messaging that we put out with yourself and with the fire chief, maintenance ops and everybody ahead of this. We appreciate that. We appreciate that our community took it seriously. We didn't see some of the issues that we saw during Hurricane Ian and Nicole. People abided by their curfew. They were understanding that, hey, when a wind speed gets to 40 miles an hour, the bridges are going to get closed. They understand that, there's a bunch of preparation that goes into this. The one thing I want to make clear is I want to thank my staff. Sometimes the public doesn't understand. When this happens, when we start gearing up for a hurricane, when we say we're going into 24/7 operations, that means that everybody that works for the police department comes to the police department and lives at the police department.
Wow.
Right? That means
Wow.
that because we can't risk the fact that they're not going to be able to get to us and then work their normal patrol shift, they've got to live there. So these guys are working their full 12-hour shifts, trying to sleep a little bit in between, and then going right back out there and working again. So I want to thank my staff for the 36 straight hours of public service that they gave to the community with a positive attitude. And again, I want to thank the community for respecting our laws, our city ordinances, and some of the rules around the curfew and other things that we put out there.
That's really excellent, and you point out an amazing facet of New Smyrna Beach, and the stuff that we can be proud of is that we are law-abiding citizens here. We do look out for one another. We love our police department, we love our police force, and that your entire crew was on call for 36 hours nonstop is one impressive feat. So we hope that they're getting some needed rest. Everything's back to operations normal. You don't have extra crews on anymore. It's all standard operations right now.
That's right.
Very, very good. And similarly to the fire chief, if you're in need, dial 911. If you have a non-emergent need, do you call the police department same as pre-hurricane stuff?
Yeah, like the fire chief said, my best recommendation is that you use the non-emergency number for the Volusia County Dispatch. There's one for New Smyrna Beach, so there's an operator there standing by to take your calls. If you have any questions, it'll get routed to us. We also have during business hours, a phone and records department, or you can certainly come by. We're open for business, and we can handle any questions or any needs that come up.
Did you make any deep water did you use the deep water vehicle to make any rescues or any of that yesterday? Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so we do. We have a piece of equipment that we received from the military many years ago called an MRAP, and during the storm we will roll it out. We'll send it not only to search and rescue calls in support of the fire department, but also to any sort of public safety call. There comes a time when the wind got so bad that we had to resort to that as our only method of getting out there. So we're excited that we're actually, thanks to the commission approving this, over a year and a half ago, we're going to be receiving a new police Lenco Bearcat. And what that is it's a vehicle specifically designed for high water, has a snorkel, it can drive over debris. We're planning on receiving that in the next 60 days or so.
Fantastic.
So that'll only prepare us even more so for the next hurricane.
Fantastic. When did you secure the effort because of winds and what have you? How late did you go, and when did you start back up?
Right, so we actually brought everybody back to shelter in place after midnight. So probably between 12 and 1 a.m., I was out there with the folks, and at one point, my vehicle was rocking side to side, and we knew that was time to was no longer safe. So, when wind speeds were sustained closer to 60 miles an hour, we actually took everybody back to the police department, sheltered in place. But fortunately, we were able to by 6 a.m. have patrol back on the road, and so there was very little downtime.
Fantastic. And if I remember right, the bridges closed about 9:30 and they opened yesterday at about 11. So I'm sure you had a lot of people at that point that were really anxious to get either to beachside who had evacuated or get off beachside to go and about their regular business. Yeah?
Yes.
Very good. Anything you want to tell the residents? I liked your word. I think it's important to say thank you and to be grateful and to be kind to one another right now. The stress is over. It's now time to clean up and get back to life as normal, life as we know it, the beautiful life that we have here in New Smyrna. Any closing words, anything you want the folks to know before
Just
you
want to thank the community for their support of our first responders. It doesn't go without notice. I mean, and we do get thanked day in and day out. I want to thank Walmart for donating food, Surge at Mondelez, and several other community partners.
Flagler Tavern.
Flagler Tavern literally provided dinner to our first responders in the middle of the hurricane. So thank you to our community partners. Thank you for everybody for recognizing that our first responders do a lot for probably not enough money, and they do it with a smile because they enjoy the community they serve.
They're following their leader, and you set a great example and a great pace. I can't let you go without noting that you have your pink badge on today for the October month breast cancer awareness. Good job, Chief. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mayor.
Appreciate it.